You know, this been over 70 years ago. My mind's not as sharp as it used to be, but I still got some of it.
This is war.
With the next tide, more Marines move into the streets of Incheon itself. They meet little resistance, and within hours, the city is secure. The big gamble has paid off. With the surrender of Incheon's modern harbor, the back door to Seoul is opened wide.
UN units hurling back Chinese counterattacks reach the blasted bridges along the vital Han River across from Seoul. For the fourth time since the war's start, the city of Seoul comes under attack.
Well, I'm from Clanton, Alabama, and I was in the National Guard in high school. They activated the headquarters company 2 years before I graduated. That's how I got engaged with the military. And my first assignment was at Puerto Rico, 14th Cavalry Division. We stayed there. When we left there, they sent our outfit to Panama. I don't know why, but they told me later that those metal donkeys that pulls those ships through, we had to guard those metal donkeys. And after we left Panama, I went to Japan. From Japan, I went to Hawaii. And from Hawaii, I went back to Tokyo. And then I went to Germany. And when I left Germany, I went back to Japan. And from there, I went to Korea. The invasion of Korea was 1951. I was in the invasion.
An assault fleet appears off Walmy Island at Incheon Harbor, 150 miles behind enemy lines. It's a daring end-run maneuver which takes the sleeping enemy completely by surprise.
It's just a harbor-type place. We got off of the ship, and then we started to go around. It's called Busan Perimeter. That's where we started. And the first 2 weeks, we like to lost ourselves because it was cold and we couldn't, the supply couldn't get us ammunition fast enough, but we made it. And then we shoved across the 38th parallel by walking, moving. You can tell you it's called advancing. That's when the fighting started. I tell you, I caught myself and said, what in the world am I doing here? I mean, it was strange to me. That's a strange country. Well, we had uniforms, military uniforms, and we had parkers. They was warm enough, not too warm, but they kept you from freezing. We had a pair of boots called Mickey Mouse boots. They kept your feet warm. Oh, I had a Thompson and a 45. Not the type of Thompson had the round barrel, but we had banana clips, taped together. Thompson's fully automatic. I mean, you could get one round if you know just how to do it, but once you press that trigger, that magazine's gonna be empty. If you're lucky enough, in the kitchen, you got powdered eggs and toast and sometimes biscuits. But most of all, we had K rations, C rations. You slept on the ground, and you just hope and pray that you make it from day to day. Well, when you woke up, I mean, you just thank God you woke up when you woke up, you know. And everything we done, infantryman is on foot. Of course, I had a Jeep, but the commanding general told us we was going into a combat zone. We knew it already started. Oh yeah, you heard artillery, you heard automatic fire, rapid fire. And sometimes it lasted 30, 40 minutes, sometimes maybe an hour. Oh, you hear jets. After we got into combat, we had a firefight one afternoon. And I don't know whether you know what a firefight is or not, and I had a decision to make, and I had about a split second to make it. And I said, Lord, help me make the right decision to whether to go to the left flank or the right flank. I chose I went up the middle. And undoubtedly, I made the right decision. I only lost 2 men instead of maybe 50 or 70. You only have a few seconds when you have to make a decision. We had R&R, and we stopped close to a little cemetery. You know, they have patios and all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, we heard 2 rifle shots. 2 of our soldiers fell. We got to looking around. One of my sergeants, he was a sniper. We got to looking, and it looked like 2 women out in the chopping stuff, hoeing, you know how they farm over there. And all of a sudden, he saw one of them. It reached down, went under the skirt, pulled out a rifle. It was 2 Korean soldiers. That's how our soldiers was getting shot. Of course, naturally, we eliminated them. Do you know a place called Frozen Chosin? Oh yeah, I got footprints there. It's a big reservoir. Before we got to Chosin, was every hill has a number, objective, you know. We was on the slope side. They had set me up a Jeep with a 75 recoilless rifle on it. Me and my sergeant would take a round, fire a round every now and then, maybe an hour, just to harass, you know. Well, it got lunchtime. The sergeant said, Lieutenant, I'm hungry, so like I told you, K ration, C ration. I reached in there and got a can. I looked at it, and it was a can of corned beef hash. I hate that stuff. So I just throwed it back over my head. And you know what happened? I hear something go, oh. Well, instinctively, I rolled to my right, he rolled to his left. 4 Korean soldiers slipped up behind us. So after a little firefight, I got over on my knees and crawled around, walking. I looked, I found that can of corned beef hash. And I kept it for almost 2 years, then I lost it again. But that can of corned beef hash let us know right quick. It saved us right there. See, where we had helmets, they had caps. And we found out real quick when we got an attack, the one had the biggest star on his cap. If you get him, they'd turn around and go back. But they'd get another leader. Well, we didn't have to. I had squad leaders. They knowed automatically what to do. Well, now, we had some Turk soldiers close to us. And I'll tell you one thing. You think the American soldier's a fighter? They are a top-notch fighter. 2 of them got in an argument one night. And I was going to separate them. One of their officers grabbed me and he said, Bill, said, don't do it. Said, just watch. And they got to fight. I mean, they had real sharp knives. They was fighting each other. And one of them nicked one of them on the arm, and once the first one got the blood, it was all over with. I said, why didn't you let me stop it? He said, they wouldn't like that. You'd have got hurt. But a Turkish soldier, they're good fighters. Did you know General Eisenhower? He was a soldier first, then he was a president. We had a couple of days, a little R&R. The kitchen caught up with us. And all I wanted first was some good hot coffee. I was sitting on my Jeep drinking coffee. I heard a voice on my left said, soldier, is that coffee hot? I said, yeah, you want to see? I looked up and I started to jump up. And he put his hand on my shoulder and said, so to keep, it was Eisenhower. Well, I got wounded the first time right there at the frozen Chosin. Shrapnel got me into my point man. And I went back with my men after I got out of the field hospital. So I went back to my outfit about 2.5 weeks after I got out of the field hospital. And then we was going to cross the Yalu River. You know where the Yalu River is? Well, on the Easter Sunday in '52, we got across the Yalu River. And the intelligence didn't get the word to us fast enough that they had reinforced their forces. We didn't know it. We got across the river okay. I was trying to protect my radio sergeant. And one of the North Korean soldiers come out on my blind side, got me with a bayonet. I felt a sting, and that's the last thing I remembered. Everything went black. And I didn't know this then. And all of a sudden, I heard the sweetest voice you'd ever want to hear. It says, have no fear and believe. I was in a body bag, but I didn't know it. And when I heard that voice, my eyes opened. And I started breathing. And when my medic saw me moving in that body bag, he unzipped it, and his eyes was big as $50. And my eyes met his. I'll never forget the words he asked me. He said, Lieutenant, thank God. That's all he ever said. They took me to the field hospital. But let me tell you one thing. When we got to the field hospital, I didn't have no scar or anything. My throat was already healed. Now, you know who did that. My medic couldn't. I couldn't. They put me on a helicopter and sent me back. And then from there, I come back stateside. So I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, back to Fort Jackson. And then from Fort Jackson, I got released and I got out of service in '55. Well, I didn't do anything for about a year. And then I got a job with the L&N Railroad. You know what the L&N Railroad is? It's a railroad, but it's the Louisville Nashville Railroad. It runs north and south. And I worked with them for 42 years. And then I retired. Well, I tell you what now, there's some things that I think about And some things I talk about, but some of it I won't. I can't help it, I just can't do it. I'd just like to say this. God bless America and the American soldier. We need more men like that.